Happy morning, Academy. How you doing this morning? My voice is kind of on the hoarse side, but let's try and do this anyway. Good morning. Thanks for being here. I appreciate your listening. I come to this podcast with the inspiration to inspire others. This is the Academic Answers podcast, and this is where we discuss the topics on happiness, full potential, living your best life. And I just what is funny is I just did a post on my blog about not allowing perfection to get in the way of execution. And I started my podcast, my voice went out, and I was like, as long as I'm audible, we'll figure out the rest. So we continue, despite what the externals are, because you'll never be able to be in control of all the variables at all times. There are always external variables. And some of them you have nothing to do with. Some of them you had something to do with, but not in the moment. So it might not have been something that you did a couple of days ago. Like, for example, or a couple of years ago, or a couple of months ago, or some time ago in your life. That is now affecting your life today. So, for example, I was out Saturday night. Got a little loud, make a little bit of noise. And now my voice is recovering from that. So I've known, when I was in entertainment, I've known artists who have been to countries, they failed to protect their voices. They got hoarse on tours, couldn't perform, lose a bunch of money because of stuff like that. So there will be variables in everything we do. And not all the time we'll be able to control all the variables. So we have to understand how that works. So I'll put this mic as close as possible so I can come through. So this morning's question is, Lowen, you are against jobs and you're against school. What are people to do? What are younger people to do? And I'm not against school. I'm not against school at all. I'm just saying that, and I'll explain it to you. I'll tell you what to do. I'll show you why I am on this side of the fence when it comes on to school, and I'm so upset with the whole system and think it is, for most people beyond 8th grade or 6th grade, beyond the age of 15 probably, it's a waste of time. So I'm okay with the primary system, but I think colleges for the most part, not that it's okay and there doesn't need to be any work there in the primary education system, but I'm against colleges for the most part, 95% of it, because I understand that with law, medicine, engineering, a couple of really highly technical and skill areas, aside from those, generally it doesn't work. It is not working. It's not working in its current state, not because of what I am saying, but because of what the numbers are reflecting. The numbers are reflecting that over 84% of people, between 75 and 86% of people who went to colleges end up in careers that have nothing to do with their degrees. I see, for example, at the administrative level, I see, you look at applications like some of the Fortune 500 companies, stock exchange guys, who are taking on managers. Their requirements is at GED. Like that you could get in with that to become managers in the retail space and sales, in all these areas, like all these administrative type of areas. They're okay if you have a degree, but it's not required, because they're getting it that Give me the attitude and I can train the skill. That's the first form of it that I've ever heard. You know, when I was much younger, there's this saying that goes, give me the attitude and I'll train the skill. You just need somebody with the right attitude. They're literate and numerate. And most of the things that that people need to function well in the workplace or to excel can be taught, like on the job, really and truly. I'm a business administration accounting major. That's what I did my degree in, and I didn't use it. And more, I can imagine that the younger kids are not even going to come close to that stuff because a computer is doing all this stuff. 45 million Americans work in the retail trade industry, which is being disrupted by Amazon. So the stores are moving. You have Chaos doing the whole cash checkout process. You have a few assistants there now, but pretty soon that will be gone. I hear Amazon is experimenting with the shopping, with a store where you go in and you shop, and through laser technology it identify everything that you walk out the door with, and bill you from your credit card. So Tesla is saying that in somewhere in between 5 and 10 years, their car will be fully automated. They are testing a model that will just do everything. You don't have to drive it. Airline pilots are, for a while now, are only mandated to do 2 physical landings. We don't have the plane lands itself. Somebody from Central, we have pilots sitting in a room sending out drones. People are controlling drones, sending out drones in military situations. The human element is more and more being pulled back. But what is happening is that these courses in colleges are not adjusting to that. What they are doing, they are using the old norm and the media propaganda to push it, one, to continue to perpetuate that crap, and they are adding and selling all type of fluff in these courses. I speak to the young kids all the time, and when you hear the things that they're doing in their courses to make these things into 3-4 years so that the colleges can collect more money, it is a scam. When you hear the amount of money these Ivy League universities have in reserves, they're richer than most third world countries, just sitting on cash that they've been able, through the whole setup of the politics, media, college issue and society, that whole pyramid, they've managed to amass so much wealth because they're selling a lie to the kids and to society, and we have bought into it in a sort of indoctrinated way, where even though the numbers are out, we are still blinded from the reality. We don't get it because we don't realize that this is not working at all. It's not going right. It's wrong, and it's not producing the results that it's meant to produce. The kids coming out of college are not any better off. Things and times have changed. So we're holding the same college systems and trading for a world that no longer exists. Coming out of the 70s, 80s, 90s, that used to work. It doesn't work anymore. I was telling my mother-in-law yesterday that just before I left, the year before I went into my final year at college, the year before that, people used to... So we're saying that is not working. It's not working. Sorry for that little interruption there. But it is not working because we are fluffing these things and selling to the kids, and the information we're giving them is relevant and outdated. And when you think about it, we're not teaching people how to navigate life. We're giving them information that used to be okay, and there's no way for them to get it. But now when the internet is there, I don't see why we should have kids in a classroom teaching them what is the capital of some other country, or what's the population, these things are on the internet. We must train people how to find the information they want and how to navigate life. We must teach them how to think. We must teach them how life works. That's what the kids used to know. So we give them all this information about Russia, China, America, the Caribbean. We give them all this information about Lincoln and Einstein and all the people that we study and all the people that are important in history. But when they come out here and they get their first knock, or they end up can't getting a job in 3 months, and they got frustrated, depressed, turned to drugs, because they don't know how things work. Or they go on a job and the job politics start to get to them, and they just spin out and do crazy stuff and don't know how to navigate the corporate space. They don't know anything because we don't find the right things to teach them about life. We don't teach them about love and family and money and businesses. We don't teach them that stuff. We're fluffing these things with every filler we can find. And it's not making the kids any better. That's why I'm attacking the colleges so much in school, because it is outdated, it is clunky, and no one is doing anything about it. We're just perpetuating that lie because it protects a certain set of people, and it is the status quo, it's the norm. It's easy to continue with it, and everybody wants to cling on to it. But it's not working because the kids are not getting jobs. And the way the jobs are set up for second part is they're getting jobs and they're losing their lives. They're not living, they're unhappy. They're working 100 hours a week to run these corporate positions, who are they're slaves to these things, and they're not conscious and aware enough, because even though they're making big bucks, they're in a system that MJ DeMarco called lifestyle servitude, because they don't know how to think well. They're buying expensive stuff, getting into debt. They're having credit cards before they leave university, up to 4, 5, 6 credit cards, because corporations are pulling them in, seeing them as and they're using them by attracting them with all sorts of stuff. And the place that they are to be learning about how to live is not teaching them anything about that. And they come out here in debt and they can't pull their lives together. They end up back home. They can't provide families. They can't their families with whatever, with an improved standard of living. And they're stuck in no time. So that is my grievance with college. Somebody needs to change that system, and they need to stop selling the kids this outdated, ridiculous information that they can find everywhere and that they don't need. And kids need to stop. Parents need to stop allowing the kids to go into debt for degrees that are not working out, that are not giving them bang for the bucks, that are not giving them positive return on their investment. They need to stop doing that. It's not working. It is not working. And we need to admit that, and we need to move on from it. That's what's going on. So this is the thing. When it comes on to jobs, my problem with jobs is that, and I'm not saying everybody's supposed to be business people and everybody's going to go off and do this and everybody's going to go off and do that. But what I'm trying to say to people is that a job is pretty much trading time for money. If you want wealth, if you want a secure future, if you want to do anything amazing with your life, that cannot be the mode that you want to choose to do it, because that doesn't work. That doesn't work. It has not worked, because what you do, you pretty much end up in a situation where you continue to do that trade with time for money, and more your life is being sucked away under the pretense that you are getting somewhere and you're not getting anywhere. I'm not saying don't work a job, but work a job with an enlightened perspective, that somewhere in there you have to find a way to create something that can serve you, to create something that gives you some amount of freedom and some amount of opportunity to live now. Not to buy into the 401k retirement plan dream, because that doesn't work for people. There's no point in giving in to the life that you can live when you're almost dead, because more and more are realizing that it's not working out for anybody. It's not a plan. It's been proven over and over again that it really doesn't work, because people retire. The average age people live after retirement is 7 years after they retire. That's the years they live after retirement, average years. People die quickly. People don't get to do anything. And what we do with pensions and what we do with the corporate stuff and the 9-to-5 stuff is that we tell people to work hard all your life, and then you get to retire and live happily ever after, which is also ridiculous and doesn't make sense. Because number one, at that age, after you work until you're 67, most people are out of energy, and they don't have the energy or the resources these days to live any decent type of life. And we have to stop selling people out of their life. Life is now. There's no planning to live. There is finding a way to live now. I understand sacrifice. I know what that means, but not sacrifice in a way where they're sacrificing 45 years to live 7 years. That doesn't make sense. We're talking about 10 years, 15 years of sacrifice so they can live 40 years. So that's why we push against the line of a 9-to-5 that is not extremely enlightened. There are people who have done 9-to-5 jobs who have managed to build things out of their income that is able to serve them. People punch the clock and write a book, find marketing systems to sell it. People punch the clock and have online businesses. People punch the clock and have training courses. People punch the clock and have investment portfolios. People punch the clock and have real estate where they're able to live a better quality life. So we're saying yes, the clock, but the clock, for those who really don't want to do business or feel like it's business just not for me, punch clock, but have an enlightened outlook on your life. Not punching it, buying into that trading 40 years for 5 years. So you're pretty much saying to the guy, here is 40 years of my life so I can live 5 years good. And that 5 years that we're trading for, most times it's not good. It's littered with ailments, you're tired, you have no resources, and it doesn't work in these day and age when inflation rate is so high and things are so expensive. It's not working out in terms of how much you can save for retirement, because you cannot save your way to riches. And if you live extremely menial and you make a lot of money, you'd have to work a very long time to be able to live a rich life. And a rich life is not only a lot of money. And that's a big point I hear. A rich life is not a lot of money only. A rich life is you have to have the money, the relationships, and the health. That's what constitutes a rich life. The money, the relationship, the health, and the contentment and peace of mind from your religion, your faith. Those four things have to align. If they don't align, your life will not be rich. You'll have a lot of money, but you'll not be rich. And that is no sense. That's why you see so many people who are multimillionaires and billionaires kill themselves, commit suicide, because their lives are not rich. You have money, but it's the easiest thing to think that money can buy you happiness and buy you all the things you want and make everything okay and solve all your problems. But once you get it, you'll realize that that's not how it works. And if you are hard and believer in that, and now you come to the point where you realize that that's not how it works, then you soon start to get into depressed and destructive states of man. So that is the reason why I'm against, you hear me push against the line of colleges and jobs, because I know that it robs a person of their lives. The colleges are training you for things that are not adding in and adding up, and it doesn't make sense. It's a world that has long gone, and the clock takes away two very important things that a person needs to be successful, and that is control and leverage. It takes away control, meaning that you can dictate how your life, income growth turns out, and you don't have the leverage from the job to leverage time and resources to multiply and to get exponential growth in your income to take you to a life of freedom. Thank you guys for listening. It's been a struggle with my voice, but we got it done. Thank you so much. Appreciate you listening. I hope I didn't annoy you so much with the sounding of my voice. Have a great day.